Albuquerque city vendors tied to a big kickback scheme are still getting big city contracts right now.
This even though the mayor's office vowed to go after them. News 13's Alex Goldsmith found out why.
This all centered around a kickback scheme uncovered 3 years ago. 2 managers at the city's vehicle yards were arrested for taking bribes from companies in exchange for city contracts. According to a criminal complaint, one of the vendors involved, Parts Plus, gave one of those employees a laptop. But after the city said they'd bring legal action, News 13 found Parts Plus has gotten paid nearly $400 grand since October 2011. Chief Administrative Officer Rob Perry says even though the 2 city workers were convicted, there wasn't enough evidence against any of the vendors to go after them in court. Parts Plus was banned from getting city contracts for a year. Another parts vendor, U.S. Distributing, was also suspected in the kickback scheme. They're still getting city contracts too. Neither of the companies returned our request for comment. In the Newsplex, Alex Goldsmith, KRQE News 13.
Right, and neither of those convicted city workers are going to spend any time behind bars. Ruben Montoya got a year on house arrest, and Ralph Garcia got a year on probation. And the city has finally done something about one of its workers we told you about earlier this week on special assignment. Manuel Anaya has been reassigned to the Weed and Litter Department. He was a maintenance man at the Jack Candelaria Community Center and is accused of training boxers there for money while not doing his regular city job but collecting his city paycheck. The Inspector General was already looking into Anaya, and now the city is investigating too. The city has not said if Anaya could lose his job because of this. Well, here is a warning from the Attorney General's office about a group from California trying to rip people off by getting them to send payments to a company, their company, instead of their regular lenders. The mailings say things such as notice of HUD relief, making home affordable, or housing and urban development loan modifications. On top of that, the Attorney General's office says there is a scheme going around that involves people claiming to be P&M workers. The caller threatens to shut the power off if people don't buy gift cards. If you get one of these calls, go ahead and call the AG's office. Elizabeth?
The Santa Fe Police Department's trigger lock giveaway was so successful, they're doing it again. The department says they're hoping the free trigger locks will help reduce accidental shootings. Earlier this month, the Santa Fe City Council passed a resolution urging gun stores in the city to sell trigger locks with every gun, new and used. Police have 350 free locks to hand out on a first-come, first-served basis. You can pick one up during business hours at the main station in Santa Fe. Speaking of the Santa Fe Police Department, a new survey shows the majority of officers in the department are losing confidence in Chief Ray Real. The Santa Fe New Mexican reports that the survey done by police officers, the association, which is the union, showed that 76% of cops are not confident in the department's leadership and that 75% believe morale is low. Real says the police union has not presented the survey's findings with him, nor have they offered to discuss the survey with him. A tribal police officer found himself on the other side of the law, and he is now suspended. You see, a woman who lives in real communities called authorities and said she believed her 17-year-old daughter was with someone she should not be. That turned out to be Byron Abeda. Now, he is a police officer with the Okeowinge Pueblo near Espanola. Deputies say that when they drove up to the girl's house, they say he had a 12-pack of beer and 2 open bottles of liquor in his car. Deputies say the 2 had exchanged text messages about drinking. Abeda is charged with contributing to the delinquency of a minor. Santa Fe police say they are now getting a grasp of how many people were treated by a so-called fake dentist.
This is all after they arrested the man who is known as El Dentista. The officers arrested Elviar Kessler this Saturday after they set up an undercover appointment with him. Police think that he's been running an illegal dentist office out of his car for at least the last 5 years, using some of these tools and those drugs. So far, at least 3 people have come up and told police that they used El Dentista, including this woman. She says that Kessler convinced her that she needed 4 teeth pulled. She says she ended up with an infection and got very sick after that. Plus, we found another woman here who says she paid Kessler $100 to pull 2 of her teeth 6 months ago.
I heard it a lot for a whole week, and then it started getting infected. My face swelled up, and my face, my head, and my neck hurt a lot.
One of the women says she knows of at least 20 other people in her area that had used Kessler as a dentist. He is now facing fraud and drug charges. Well, former New Mexico Congresswoman Heather Wilson is moving to South Dakota for a new job. She's going to be the president of the School of Mines and Technology in Rapid City. That starts June 1st. Ms. Wilson represented New Mexico in the U.S. House from 1998 to 2009. Well, happening now, we have all been told about the high cost of DWI, but today students at one high school in Albuquerque are going to get a first-hand look at how DWIs really change your life.
That's because DWI offenders will actually be sentenced in front of the kids. It's all part of the Bernalillo County Metro Courts to School project. We have our News 13's David Romero, who is live out in front of Metro Court with more. Good morning, David.
Good morning, Elizabeth. Well, usually these repeat offenders would appear here in Metro Court behind me, but today the classroom becomes the courtroom. Every semester, the Metro Court judges put on the Courts to School program at schools throughout Albuquerque. DWI offenders are sentenced in front of kids, and before they're hauled off to serve their time, they will usually have a prepared speech to tell students how their DWI has changed their lives, why they made the poor decision to drive drunk, and how they will try to improve their lives afterwards. Judges say this is not only a chance for students to learn about the legal system, but learn a valuable life lesson in the process.
I think it's a very successful program because the kids are getting the information they need to make smart decisions in their lives as young adults. And I think that the schools are very receptive to what they're seeing as far as this educational process goes.
And Judge Engel tells us that this is a very crucial thing that kids should take serious when they're in attendance in this courtroom, because it is an actual courtroom while these proceedings are going on. So if they become disruptive, they could be held in contempt of court. A real...
Well, looks like we're losing David, but we got the point. Thank you so much, David. By the way, judges also tell us that the offenders who will be sentenced in the Courts to School program have made prior arrangements to appear there. Bernalillo County is also co-sponsoring a statewide bullying prevention symposium today. It is being held from 8 this morning until 4 this afternoon at UNM at the Student Union building there. There are also workshops about prevention, bullying all day tomorrow that are going on.
Okay, going back to the whole DWI in schools program, the prevention issue. Here's what the cost of a DWI is for just your first offense that I found. 6 months to a year, you'd lose your license. That's bad. Up to 90 days in jail. You'd have to go to DWI school, get an alcohol evaluation, and have an interlock for a year, plus go to treatment, and then you have to pay thousands of dollars to do that.
Oh yeah, it is no joke, besides the fact that it is extremely dangerous.
Yeah, it could very well hurt or kill somebody.